I'm Joe Hart, and no, this is not another football podcast. This is Footballers Unfiltered from FIFPRO, the global union for professional football players, bringing you real and honest conversations from the players, on and off the pitch, straight to you. Now, Lucy Bronze has done it all. She's a Champions League winner, a serial league champion, and of course, a double European champion with England, after that unforgettable summer at Euro 2025.
I don't know if every national team feels it, but when I put that England shirt on, it was my dream to win for England. And then doing it back to back in that same competitions, like literally. So it's so insane. Obviously, to do it, you're like, oh yeah, we did it. But if I'd thought about that 5 years ago, I'd be like, that's crazy. That's so hard for any team to do. So to have actually done it with England's amazing.
That triumph was a landmark moment for women's football. But Lucy hasn't stopped there. Even with all these accolades, she's spoken out about the realities of the game. Earlier this year, she sparked debate when she said 99% of women's players wouldn't be able to retire on their salaries. Comments that some misunderstood.
Yeah, I mean, I got asked about women's footballers being able to retire, and I was like, well, 99% won't be able to retire if they're made of. It's not to say that they should be able to, it's just the way it is. The women's players need, well, even men's players, like, be prepared for anything.
In this conversation, we talk about Lucy's career highs, the pride in representing England, and why she continues to push for change in football. That's exactly why we wanted Lucy Bronze on Footballers Unfiltered. In every episode, I'm joined by an expert in the game who's working hard to support footballers all around the world. Today, I'm joined by Victoria Williams. Victoria, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I am a player services executive at the PFA, and I work specifically in the women's football department. I retired from the professional game 2 years ago. So yeah, pretty new in the role, but settled in really well.
So recently out of the game, how are you finding it?
It's really good, yeah. I kind of admit that I didn't really know what to expect stepping into it. I wouldn't say it was exactly what I'd planned to step into, but when the job came up, I thought I could really make an impact and use the experience that I've had from playing in the game for so long and really help current and future pros.
Has it really opened your eyes from being a previous player to seeing how hard it is to get things done behind the scenes?
Definitely. I think as a player, you massively underestimate how much work's going on for you behind the scenes. Not deliberately, you don't see that side of the game.
So Lucy brings together so many of the themes that FIFPRO and PFA work on. Can you tell me a little bit about how important she is?
Lucy's massively important to the game because she's experienced it at all levels, both domestically and on the international stage. She's experienced the game when it was at amateur level, and we were paying to play. It was costing you money to play the game. And at the time, there was no scope for it ever being a professional game. We didn't know that that's where we would be at now. And she's obviously played through that. She's been massively successful. She's one of the most decorated players in the game now. And I just think the insight that she can offer us today is just going to be brilliant. It's probably something we've not had the chance to hear before.
You know Lucy well, but what are you most interested hearing her views on today?
I think just her outlook and how she sees the game, what she's experienced, where it's come from, where it's going, how her experiences have impacted the way not only she behaves as an athlete, but also how she advocates for the wider game. Just be really interesting to see how she ties all that together while still operating at the elite level. And
on that note, let's bring Lucy in. Okay, so a huge Footballers Unfiltered welcome to the double champ, Lucy Bronze. Lucy, thank you very much for giving up your time. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And I got to start there. Double champ, how does that feel?
Yeah, insane. I think anyone who plays for England, it's like your goal to win something for England and to do it. Yeah, like that's the pinnacle of everything. And it's like, I don't know if every national team feels it, but when I put that England shirt on, it was my dream to win for England. And then doing it back to back in that same competitions, like literally. So it's so insane. Obviously, to do it, you're like, oh yeah, we did it. But if I'd thought about that 5 years ago, I'd be like, that's crazy. That's so hard for any team to do. So to have actually done it with England's amazing.
Obviously doing it in England, that was special. The celebrations, unbelievable, brought the country together. But that was a roller coaster, right?
Roller coaster, yeah.
Where were your heads at? Where were your heads at?
I don't know. Everyone was like talking, how are you going to do it again? And we just did the opposite. But we won, but in such a different fashion, like with entertainment, but in a different way. When I play for England, I'm like, nah, this team's winning. No matter what. It doesn't matter what time, score, anything. It's like, I don't know, I've just got this belief that I know what we do every single day, and we're different. Yeah.
Because you believe in the girls, you believe in everything that you guys have built.
Yeah. The only moment I worried was weeks before the tournament.
Yeah.
We had an international break in April, I think it was. Alessia Russo went home injured. Chloe Kelly went home injured. Lauren James went home injured. Alex Greenwood, Lauren Hemp and Georgia Stanway had not kicked a ball for 3 months because they'd all had knee surgeries. So those 6 players who have all had a huge impact in the Euros, at that moment in time, those 6 players were not available to play. And we didn't know when they were going to be back. And I was like, oh, I think we might need those players to come back. And then one by one, you see them getting back on the pitch. And even though like half of them not on the same like club team, I was like, yes, coming together now. And then we've got too much talent not to get to the end.
And then there's the talent, but then there's the nerve, like to win the penalty shootouts like you did. Again, belief there. You know, I know I've heard you say it, but to have that belief going into major tournaments, me personally, I've had an England career, but like I didn't do anything with it, and I know what it is to win, and that hurts so much, you know. And I'm just as responsible as anyone for that. But how can you go into those penalty shootouts with such certainty?
And this is the moment I feel really sure. I don't know why. Maybe because I don't have to take one most of the time.
Well, you did.
I did this time.
It got down to you eventually.
It's funny because
I love that penalty, by the way. Well, I think everyone loved that penalty.
I had such a good relationship with Mary Earps over the last few years, and we kind of used to have like this penalty procedure in games.
Yeah.
And like everyone sees like Mary would be like this, and I'd be like in the ear of whoever's taking it, or even when we won a penalty, it was the same. I'd get the ball and I'd protect. Protect and be putting the other team off because I'd be like, I ain't taking it. Like, this isn't bothering me. Like I'm old enough. I've played enough games. Like,
so were you doing that before it was a thing? Because it's common now, isn't it? Like, you know whoever's got the ball in the hand ain't taking it.
We've been doing it for years at England. I think one of our goalkeeper coaches. Obviously, it's always the goalkeepers.
They love it. Intricacy.
Yeah, they love like the little things.
God, yeah.
And we had like a meetings about it, and it's something like it comes up in set players meetings now. And it'll just say protect the GK. And half the girls don't know what it means anymore because we've just done it for years.
Yeah.
And it's always been like, Lucy, it's your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only time I didn't do it, I think I was on a yellow card once, and I was like, looking for like Chloe, like who's the next who's the next one who's going to torment people? I was like, Chloe, come on.
Speaking of Chloe, when she's stepping up to win it, no doubt.
Yeah. With Chloe, it's like
it seems to just be written.
Yeah, Chloe's one of them players that like. I think she's learned to just be like this wall of like, you can't touch me. And she just is like, for everybody else as well, you can feel it. You know that she's genuinely that confident in herself. So you're kind of more relaxed. Yeah. I hear what you're saying there, because many people in football, especially at the top level, you can see when they're playing at it, and you've got to kind of create this kind of invincibility. But from watching Chloe and how she behaves and how she does things, you can tell it's all genuine. You can tell it's all belief. But when she steps on the pitch, I'm like, but you want a player like that in your team. She's the one that you'd want to play against because she's like got that aura. But then you need players in that team to carry over players when maybe they don't believe or the team's in a bad moment. You need players who can just be like shoulders back no matter what.
Yeah. So obviously winning in England, that was huge. You took the nation by storm, and I'm sure you noticed huge changes, and the celebrations were unbelievable. A couple of years later, how are you seeing it? Similar sort of impact? Like,
yes and no. I think it's like, I think before it kind of went from not zero, but from like not much.
I get you.
To bang, like here we are. Whereas that obviously created a wave that the last few years have been bigger than to start with. So we started on a higher point at this Euros. But I think the good thing was, like I said, winning it in a different way impacted so many people in a different way. And like more people associated themselves with the team because it was like proper English penalty shootouts.
Yeah.
People are playing injured. People are got problems at home, or like there's so many individual stories. You look at like Mido and Tooney, like having their losses with their parents, playing the tournament. There were so many relatable things to so many English people, and I think that's when people connected in a different way this tournament. So I feel like there has been like a boom this time, but it's felt so different. Like it's really different to the previous time.
And so when you say, obviously you touched on playing injured, I think one of the most iconic images is we all found out what happened to you after, but you just strapping your leg up. That's just you as a player though, right?
It's funny because obviously in the time I didn't think anything of it, and the two physios were busy, and I remember clearing the ball, and I just felt my adductor was like pinging, and I was thinking, I'm going to tear it if I'm not careful. So I was just like, if I can't feel it, then it doesn't exist. Tape it. And I was like finding the tape, and Niamh Charles was there, and she went, do you want me to do it for you? And I went, no, it's fine, I'll do it. Like that's how self-sufficient we all just are as a team anyway.
I don't think a teammate would have done it as hard as you did it either.
No, so, I know, that's what I was thinking.
You wouldn't do that to your mate.
No, I was thinking, you don't know what I need right now, Niamh. I need to not feel anything. And then I had to take a penalty, which I wasn't expecting. I was like 7th in the list or something. So I'd kept it on because I was thinking, well, I need to be ready for the next game. You know, there's a shootout. Then I had to take a penalty, so I was thinking, I can't feel my leg. I need to take it off to actually be able to take the penalty.
And was it always going as it was? Or was that because of the abductor?
That was because of the pain in my body. I didn't practice that penalty once in training. No. And we always practice penalties at the end of training. Yeah. But I didn't train most of the Euros because of my leg. Yeah. And I definitely didn't finish any training session. So I never took penalties. Which is why I think I was probably 7th in the list, because Serena's thinking, well, she's not practiced any, which I hadn't. So I was just like, got to smack it, give it one, give it a
pen.
So you're decorated. Like, decorated is an understatement. But is that win different?
The whole tournament?
Yeah, winning a national tournament.
Yeah, and I think, again, for me, this one's different because last Euros, just a few weeks before, I signed for Barca, which in itself was huge, but I left the country. So we won the Euros, I celebrated a bit, and then I went to Spain, and I saw the things that were happening in England, but it was a bit like I saw from afar. Yeah. And I was at Barca, that was a different, like, kettle of fish altogether. Like, being I was a Barca player, and all that comes with that was huge. I wasn't really like the England Euros winner. Yeah. Whereas now, obviously, being at Chelsea and coming back and being in London and stuff, it's like, feels so different. And to just be able to come back and celebrate and see the start of the season and how it actually has affected the fans and the players and everything's going to be like, for me, is something that I'm looking forward to, because I didn't get that last time. Yeah. And so when you're in Lyon and Barca, are you learning much about the women's game in terms of where you want it to be? Are you thinking, I can bring that back to England? We're not as far, or we're further on than I expected? I think as a whole, at both times I went, I was like, we collectively are so much further than I even could ever have imagined. Like, only looking at Lyon and Barca, they were great, but the structure around them, the league, like, it's just miles off the WSL. Yeah. Miles off of it, yeah. Even in Barca, and like, I thought, like, Spain's amazing, like, the men's, like, side's amazing, like La Liga's does so well and things, but it was so far off it. I think like Mariona Caldenti talks about it a lot, because obviously she wants it to improve in Spain, but she's now witnessed England, and she's like, the difference is just crazy. But then the only thing I would say was like the investment of those two individual teams. I'm not surprised that they were successful as they were. I literally knew, like, if Laporta walked in the room now, he'd be like, hey, Lucy, how's your mum? How's your dad? Like, are we going to speak in Spanish or in English today? Like, we know each other. Or like John Olas at Lyon, he was the chair, he was the owner at the time when I was there. Same thing. Like, you could walk in the room and he knows who I am. He talks to me. Like, he knows what the girls need, what the team needs. That doesn't happen as much in England, but I kind of understand it, because the Premier League's the Premier League. It's a monster in itself. Yeah, I got you. So there's that, like, connection's missing a little bit in England. And maybe that's why some teams don't get the most out of themselves. Whereas like Lyon and Barca had everything because you could go straight to the top, which is always the easiest thing.
So how far have we come in the English game? Take me right back to...
Right back?
The steps.
Back?
I do. Yeah, I do. Because it's unreal. Like, you're talking about WSL and, you know, how it's being built and all the steps forward. And we were talking earlier about how much more there is to go. But, like, how far have we come?
My first season, Sunderland, I wasn't professional. It wasn't professional then.
Yeah.
But that was when I was with the first, like, senior team I was with. I was in the start 11, whatever. We made the FA Cup final and we were playing Arsenal. We couldn't afford the bus. So,
and where's the FA Cup final being played?
It was...
Was it Pride Park?
It might have been at Forest.
Right.
Or Derby.
Derby's, yeah.
Might have been, yeah.
So you got to get down to East Midlands.
Yeah, so it's not London, but...
And then when did you start to see things sort of change, and what was it that was making it change?
I mean, the league got like rebranded, so that was when it went to the WSL.
Yeah.
Because before then it was called the Premier League, right?
Yeah, it was Premier.
That was So I played in the second division with Sunderland, and then we got promoted. So WSL and the FA ran that league, so it was the FA WSL. And they pumped a lot of money into it, and they had this big plan because England started to be a little bit more successful, like the Lionesses, and just like commercially they were starting to creep in a little bit. There was a little bit more interest. So I think when the league got rebranded, got made professional, loosely we'll say that. Yeah,
because they used to have, and they still do, they have like licence criteria. I think, so it turned to the WSL in like 2011, and I remember being at Donny Bell's, and before we'd even kicked the ball, we got demoted because we didn't meet the licence criteria. So we played a full season knowing that even if we won the league, we're getting relegated.
What's licence criteria? So what would that have been? What would you have
It'd just be like you have to have one physio or X amount of money.
Yeah. Or even coming down to like the stadium has to have like a certain amount of seats or you can't play there. Yeah, everything that packages up what it would take for you to stay in, like, to compete in the league.
Which like makes sense, but then it also was like Donny Bell's was like a huge team in the women's game.
We were one of like most successful teams ever.
Sunderland as well. Happened to Sunderland.
And who was making that structure? Was someone on it? And was that them just saying, well, this is what we think, or were they able to actually... Nowadays, if something got changed, they're speaking to you. Do you know what I mean? And you're maybe saying, well... Whereas did they just go generically, you need this stadium, you need a physio, not even taken into
They made the decisions by themselves, because I can remember Sunderland's the team that I played for. Like, you think Jordan Nobbs, Steph Horton, Jill Scott, loads of us went there because it was the only place to play. So when it happened, I called, like... one of the heads at the FA to be like, are you actually crazy? There's no team in the Northeast. What's the girl going to do in the Northeast? Where are they going to play?
Because even that...
They were like, there's nothing we can do. And I was like, you're insane. Like, you wouldn't have had the Jordan Nobbs, all those people.
Yeah.
You're crazy. But they were like, decisions being made.
That was my last year at Sunderland when that happened. Yeah. So like, I think we'd finished like 6th or 7th in the league. So... like, not comfortable, but again, because if you don't meet the criteria, they and they got demoted. It was 3 tiers, wasn't it? Down to tier 3 just from that. So and
the crazy thing was, it was called professional.
Yeah.
So I was at Everton first, 2 years, had a load of knee injuries, whatever. I moved to Liverpool, fresh start. My first contract at Liverpool. So this is the 3rd professional year.
Right. Okay.
I got 6,000 for the year. That was my contract, £6,000. That was my professional contract 3 years in.
So
plus expenses.
Yeah.
I claimed more in expenses than I got paid. Not even joking. No accommodation, nothing else. I did get taxed, so good for me, but I didn't get enough to get taxed.
But what are you thinking? Like, are you starting to think, I love it, I do love it, but I'm starting to grow up and was it like taking you away from football?
To be fair, I was quite fortunate because I say that my first 2 years when it was professional, I was at uni. So I was studying, I was getting my degree. So I'd never had the dream that professional football was going to be my job. I love football. I would have played it as a hobby. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if my knee injury stopped me from being professional, I still would have been playing like 5-a-side on Saturday and Thursday nights. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't like, I never had the dream of that. So wasn't like anything was ever negative to me. It was like, oh, £6,000 sound.
Yeah.
I still had like a part-time job in Domino's. I was at uni, and then I got my expenses, which I travelled from Leeds across. So for us, it was like a bonus. It was something. Yeah.
You almost feel like fortunate.
Which is sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so grateful. And it's not that you're like, I'm not saying, oh, that's the wrong way to think, but when it was just, you were just so grateful that you get a bit.
Yeah. And I finished uni, and then that was when I was my second year at Liverpool. I got a little bit more. And that was when I had to make a decision. So it was like, I've got my degree. Do I go and find a job and my football slips, or do I just go for it and just hope for the best because it's getting better each year? And even if I get to 20k, let's say, which was like the cap at the time, the big players got 25k a year. Yeah, big players. I wasn't quite there yet. I was like, I can live off that. Like, that's fine. And I was early 20s, so that was cool. There was players who were in their mid-20s, 30s who were like, can't do this.
Yeah.
Stick with their like normal job of a teacher or what have you. But the age I was at, I was like, I've got time to go back and get a job if I need to.
So then put yourself in that 1%, because 99% of people in the women's game can't retire, right?
I mean, that's a stat I've made up.
It's a fact, no?
It's a fact.
It's a complete fact.
Yeah, I mean, I got asked about women's footballers being able to retire, and I was like, well, 99% won't be able to retire what they're made of. It's not to say that they should be able to, it's just the way it is. The women's players even men's players, like, be prepared for anything.
I hear exactly what you're saying, but is it mad that you've gone from talking about, not being able to get on, working to get the bus to the FA Cup final, so you're just answering someone's question, being a massive thing, and being like you're making some sort of statement about the game, and you're like, geez, this has just escalated.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy stuff. Yeah, that is now. I don't think I'd ever think about that when I was going to the FA Cup final years ago. Like, what I had to worry about what I was saying. Like, but yeah, I guess that's what it is now. And it's cool. Like, everyone's talking about women's football, and they want to learn more. And there's so many different angles that don't exist in the men's game that are talking points, and I guess relatable to the everyday person about, like, no, you can't retire when you're 35. That's pretty normal. Yeah. Like, it is not.
Do you think, like, because of like the speed of growth, that even sometimes as players, like, we tend to get a bit carried away because you're getting towards this stature where, like, you're being recognised and people are really, like, embracing the game, and you're getting professional contracts. And to be honest with you, like, most people are earning decent money. Do you know what I mean? If we're just even looking at the WSL. But it's hard to, like, I find it in my role to, like, talk to the girls sometimes, and it's like, it's not that, like, we as a union want you to, like, change your focus from football, but actually the reality is when you hit your mid-30s and you decide to stop, like, what you've earned, it's probably not going to be enough.
No, it won't be.
Yeah, and it's not to distract you. It's like when I go into clubs, I'm like, it can be anything that you want to do. If you want to be a bricklayer, do you know what I mean? We've got a pot of money there for you. Try some things, because, do you know what I mean? We're willing to put that on for you, and it might just give you an idea of something that, do you know what I mean, to make that transition smooth, because it's not easy. Even if you feel like you're semi-prepared for it, it's still a difficult period stepping, like, out of the bubble into what we call the real world, you know?
Yeah, well, I was saying when we were talking before, I was like, for how well you guys have done, and, like, the superstardom that you've acclaimed, especially here in the UK with young girls and young boys wanting to grow up and be like you, like, you've almost missed a kind of stepping stone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, your success is almost detrimental to what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy, but just brings me, like, how do you see your role? You're obviously an important footballer, no doubt about it. You're an absolute multi-champ of the game. But how do you see your role in the evolution of the women's game, on and off the field?
It's a big question, that.
Yeah.
Like, whilst I'm still playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I feel like we probably feel a responsibility as role models, especially when it's with the Lionesses, because there's so many eyes on us. But I think just being who you are authentically, and you tend to see it more in the women's game anyway, like, we do share more of our lives, and I do have a degree. Like I did go to university. Like I had student loans. I went with everybody else to class and had the job and stuff like that. And I think sharing those stories, like you said, when Victoria's saying about maybe the image, sometimes people don't see what's behind it.
It's shiny. The image is really shiny.
And you only see what's at the top. And even in clubs, sometimes you only see like the pictures that they put on Instagram. You don't see everything, because I'm telling you, I've played for the best women's teams in the world, and they're not as like amazing in the background as you think. Like they're all missing something, but that's just the women's game and where it's at. And maybe we don't share that enough about vulnerabilities or weaknesses because nobody wants to in the real world.
And just that we've still got like a way to go, and that's okay. Like if you think, I think WSL turned professional in 2018 officially. That's when all like 12 teams had to be professional. So like 7 years in, like it's okay if it's not right. We don't have to pretend everything is perfect. We don't have to pretend that maybe the structure isn't exactly where we like want it to be, but that is because of the growth, and that is amazing. Do you know what I mean? But we've got to at some point try and like meet in the middle and make sure that the support structure and things like that are in place so it's sustainable for the long term.
So Lucy, you're on the PFA Players Board. What does that mean? What does that mean?
You tell me. No, I mean...
You're getting thrown in situations that you didn't necessarily put your hand up for, aren't you?
Look, I'm someone who puts themselves forward for anything. I think everybody knows when they're on a team with me and they're like, someone needs to do this, they're like, Lucy will do it. Like, because they know that I will, and I can speak in most situations. I have general good knowledge of how the world works and money or contracts or structure, football structures, football pyramids. Like I've educated myself on a lot of things, and I've been involved in like FIFPRO player boards, PFA player boards. I've been involved in like England contract talks, like all of them. So my knowledge just keeps growing, which then puts me in more situations. But being on player boards it's really fun for me, I think, to be able to give a perspective. And I've done so much and traveled to different places and experienced so many things. I'm like, why would I not share that? Why would I not give it when we talk about the women's game and the place it's in? Sometimes people making the decisions haven't lived those things, haven't had those current experiences. And I think I'm one of the few players who've experienced so many different things, as well as playing to such a high level that I kind of know people will listen to me. So and then feel like, okay, I've got a responsibility to actually share that because I've been given the platform and stage that so many players haven't been given. So being on a players board gives you the chance to share your experiences, listen to other people's from different places as well, and make a difference. Give that experience to people making decisions, to make better decisions, to think about things in a different way that sometimes people sat at a desk chatting with other people, they don't see it. They only see what the black and white on the piece of paper. They haven't lived it. So for me, that's important to do.
Is that invaluable for your role, people like Lucy?
Yeah, definitely. I think stepping out of the game, obviously, like Lucy was saying, you have a lived experience, but you need players like Lucy who are interested in the work that the unions are doing, because ultimately all the work we do is for the players, so we need the voices. And obviously, like, there's no better voice to have than Lucy, and obviously Kim's on it as well. And it's just having people that are invested in making the game a better place, not just for themselves. Like, you know what I mean? Aside from like all of like Lucy's success as a player, do you know what I mean? Having somebody that wants to give back and feedback, like what the players really want there and now. Because I've retired 2 years ago. The state of play is different already. You know what I mean? So without current voices, like it's crazy. That's how quickly it's moving. So to have like a touch point like that, it's just invaluable.
Loads going on the field, loads going off. Like, what's keeping you going? What more do you want? What more do you want from the game?
The only thing I don't have is the World Cup.
Eyes on.
As I said before, like winning something for England's always been my goal. And winning the Euros is amazing, but there's nothing better than the World Cup, and to get a little star in your shirt like that lives forever. It's always been my goal, and I've played in 3 World Cups. I finished 4th, 3rd and 2nd.
Yeah, so it's this one. It's a tap-in.
So everyone's like, yeah, that's the next one. I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't keep saying this because I'm putting a lot of pressure on it. But yeah, No, it is. Like, I want to make it to the World Cup. I'm obviously not as the youngest player. I'll be pushing myself to get there, and what will be, will be. I've been fortunate enough to go to 7 major tournaments for England.
Yeah.
Why not make it another one? But I'm so happy with everything that I've done in my career. But that would just be amazing to go to another one. That's like the next thing that is in sight. So it's the thing that I'm aiming for.
Yeah, I think from being around kind of serial winners like yourself, been teammates with many, you win it. It's great.
Literally.
And then the next day is Monday, and then you
pick the trophy up, take a picture, and
enjoy that night.
That way.
And then I wouldn't mind actually winning the World Cup. I hear what you're saying, but just on the World Cup, FIFPRO, one of the things that we've talked about, one of the things I've learned about is the conditions going into the tournaments. How have you noticed that's changed through the years?
Wow, it's crazy. Like, I remember going to my first World Cup in Canada 2015, and that was my first experience. I thought it was amazing because I didn't know anything different.
Yeah.
And then the girls there were like, wow, 2011 was terrible compared to this. Like, and then each time I'm like, oh my God, the one before was not so bad. I don't want to sound horrible.
No,
but
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, like it's the contrast is so different in like 4 years. The changes is crazy. The only thing I will say is, again, very fortunate that I'm an England player, because our FA and our federation maybe backs us more than most of the international teams in the world. You talk about like the US women, England. I don't know who's next really in terms of like backing.
Really?
Even you look at like the likes of Spain and things like that. Like, they're knocking on our door saying, I got like, Lucy, what do you do with this? What do you do with that? Because we're struggling. Like, we go to a World Cup and the FA maybe push a bit more funding in to get us what we need and what we see as a professional environment and the things that are necessary to win. Not every team are as lucky as us. Yeah. And then they just fall on whatever the basics is. And for them, they don't know any better, and it's so good. But I'm like, nah, if you want to have the best product, you want to have the best World Cup, you make sure that everybody has exactly what they need to perform at their best. Yeah. Not just the teams who are capable of doing that, in like the US and England are probably the two standouts who can give the players what they need. Like a La Liga format, you see like Barca getting that, and then everyone else kind of struggling. Yeah, like give everybody the same, because we want everybody to perform. It's the stage for, it's like your moment. This is your moment. Give everybody the best thing and the best chance. Not only for them and because they should have it, but it's your product. You're selling a product at the end of the day that people are watching. So why would you not invest in that product to make it the best it can be, so that everybody can see like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I got you. And show so many international teams, this is the standard that we expect in the women's game. Like, we will show you by giving you it. Take that back to your national teams and show them and each continent and push and grow. And do you think it's starting to get better for everyone, or is it just very much? Yeah, definitely. Like, I know so many players in different teams around the world, like Spain, Nigeria, France, like even Japan, Colombia, and they're just like blown away by what's happening at each World Cup. Improvements, yeah. But then the US team are like, this should be better, and then England like, yeah, come on, like let's drive this, let's like raise push the standards on, because we've got the support and the backing from our federation to keep pushing to make sure that all those other teams that maybe don't have that facility, they can push as well, because they can be like, well, England's doing that, the US are doing that, like why are we not? It's capable. The US did it for years. You wonder why they've won so many World Cups. Yeah, of course. Like, I'm not negating their talent, but investment's key. England has invested massively over the last 10 years. Look at the fruits of the labour. Like, it's come out. We've now won back-to-back Euros. There's talent, but investment's huge to being successful as well. At the end of every episode of Footballers Unfiltered, we like to ask our guests some quick-fire questions. First one being, Lucy, when was the first time you fell in love with football? Well, I think as soon as I could walk, my big brother was playing and I wanted to be exactly like him. So it was like, give me the football, you've got the football, and fell in love with everything he fell in love with. This will be tougher than most people have asked. Tell me about your greatest moment in football so far. I guess winning the Euros this summer has to be up there. Just the way it was done, the resilience and the fight back. But if I was to give like a moment that changed my career, which people probably wouldn't know as much about, I think 2015 was the first time I took the right back spot from Alex Scott, who'd been England's right back for 10 years.
Yeah.
Mid-tournament, I took the spot from her, and then went on in that game when I took it to score the winning goal from like 30 yards out and sent England to the quarterfinal of the World Cup, which we'd never done before, ever.
History as well.
That was like the start of it in my head, thinking we're going to do something now.
Right, okay. Yeah. And last question, my favourite. What do you love most about being a professional footballer?
I love all of it, to be honest with you. I love pushing myself, competing, trying to be the best at something that I love every day is like the most enjoyment I think I can get.
Brilliant.
What's yours?
Mine? Oh, wow. I hadn't even thought about me. What do I love most about a professional footballer? Just watching the madness unfold. Do you know what I mean, though? Starting off as a professional, you just want to be a professional. Well, I didn't really care. I just wanted to play football. Then it became the job. Then I got to play for this team. And then the progression, don't get me wrong, there's always, well, you haven't, and hopefully you won't, but you reach a certain peak and mine kind of plateaued, if you like. But the progression was wild. You know, we're literally waking up during my mid-20s and thinking, well, what's next? Who am I going to... And what tournament am I going to be playing in? I'm going to be playing for England. I'm going to start for England. I'm going to start for City. We're going to win the league. That progression was wild. That was definitely what I enjoyed the most. So on that, even though you flipped it on me, Lucy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And that was Footballers Unfiltered. So Victoria, really, really enjoyed that chat with Lucy. Is there anything that stood out for you?
I think like you can't ignore like the mentality side of it. I just think I don't think I've ever asked Lucy about that, but just the sheer determination, always wanting to look at the next thing, like hitting a target and then looking ahead again. And it's not just on the pitch, you know what I mean? Off the pitch, like to listen to her, recognise that levels need to be upped in terms of structure and sustainability for the game. I think for a player of that stature to have that much awareness about what's going on, it's just really inspiring, yeah, especially for obviously coming from union work, having someone so invested in their own game and the wider game for everyone else.
Yeah, how do you think her passion can inspire others off the field?
I think her interest and commitment to the wider game is something that players can sort of buy into. I don't think there's much, if you're looking at Lucy, that she hasn't experienced and that isn't relatable to somebody, whether you're coming to the end of your career now or you're starting. I think there's something to be learnt there, and to never underestimate the impact you can have off the pitch for your game to raise the standards. I think that really pulls players together, and ultimately it'll benefit the entire game as it continues to grow.
Yeah, I think the vibe I got from Lucy is whether she was that megastar sat across from us, or if she was still playing at Sunderland and doing what she did, she'd still be the same person. So you need more people like her. Just standing up for what's right, not asking for too much, we're just pushing everything forward.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me on Footballers Unfiltered, a show brought to you by FIFPRO, sharing real conversations between players, on and off the pitch, to you. Footballers Unfiltered is recorded at Spotify Studios and is available on all podcast platforms, so hit follow wherever you're listening. And for the full, up-close and personal experience, you can watch every episode on Spotify. I'm Joe Hart. This has been Footballers Unfiltered. See you next time.